First player up at the bottom left. He's our red Terran player. Looking quite strong in his first series. Can he replicate that in here in the second series? From Dragon Phoenix Gaming, it is Kier.
And in the top right corner, playing for Team Envy, trying his best to channel all the ducks to help him out. It is Nightmare. Okay, he's what I was talking about. He's a tricky enough player to pull some stuff out, and we immediately will see the proxy play opens up with a double gas. So I'm assuming this is going to be a proxy Stargate.
Oh well, it's close enough. Although it's close and far enough that it could be a robo as well. I mean, we shall see, but I think this proxy Stargate has been a bit more kind of prevalent in the meta compared to the proxy robo, but we shall see in just a moment as that cybernetic core is about to warp in here.
Yeah, it's a proxy Stargate, a little bit more flavor of the month, or the I don't know. It's been more than a month, so flavor of the season is that something? Yeah. Cure does get the SCV scout here, recognizes that there is a pylon missing. So okay, that's some great mind games. So Nightmare did show Cure the lack of a pylon, and instead he just goes Twilight and expands behind it. So Cure going into full panic mode here, building bunkers and producing units to deal with the what he thinks is an incoming threat. But yeah, nice little mind game from Nightmare, just going for the proxy pylon that doesn't power a structure. So and Q doesn't even see the pylon just yet, so he doesn't know that there's nothing coming at him.
Yeah, his scouting pathway does not cross paths with that pylon, so won't be able to scout that. You know, I feel like maybe Nightmare was potentially looking for a proxy Stargate or Robo, but I think because the SCV did scout him, he was kind of like counting on the SCV not scouting him, but since the SCV did scout him, I think he kind of started a little bit of a transition and went for the Twilight Council instead. So we'll see if this Blink play can go ahead and do damage across the map. But in the meantime, this Adept still being a little bit of a pest. Just shooting away at this natural. Can he get that SCV? Nope.
Okay, so while this doesn't look like the trick quite worked out for Nightmare, Cure is occasionally stopping SCV production in favor of a bigger unit count. So Cure probably expecting at this point that it was a bit of a fake out, that there's nothing really happening, but he's not constantly producing this SCV. So Nightmare getting a little bit of ahead through just the anticipation.
Oh, will this medevac scout the pylon? Doesn't look like. Oh, maybe it will.
Nope. Still doesn't know.
Oh, actually, wow. This is a very quick Templar archive. What do you make of this?
Still on 2 bases. Blink's already done, but he hasn't committed to a lot of Stalkers. Already going into the charge and the Templar archive, so maybe just setting up for a very strong gateway push with a couple of storms along with it. But this drop gets into the main, sees that Blink is done here, so this drop is doomed to die. So it's just going to try to find all the damage that he can, and 8 probes going down for 8 Marines and a medevac. At this point of the game, absolutely a trade that you take 10 out of 10 times as the Terran player.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like that might have been a little bit of a mistake by Nightmare, because You know, probes just not really great against mass marines. They just kind of tickle them. And I feel like he could have just like pulled away his probes and had his stalkers just like blink on top of the marines, but he kind of used the blink stalkers to fight as well as the probes, which is I feel like was unnecessary. So kind of losing a bit more probes than he could have. I think he could have just like just ran them away and saved a lot more.
Yeah. Also, another point worth noting: that little drop found all the scouting information that he needed. Saw the very early Templar archives. Now, once again, with the Raven coming in, sees the Storm researching, gets more and more probes here. Nightmare falling quite behind, and Storm is about to be finished. So this push at the third base location with great storms can maybe be defended, but Nightmare on the back foot here.
Yeah, for sure. And desperately trying to get that shield battery up here at the third base. Actually, quite dangerous for him to just kind of abandon it right now. He's trying to, I don't know what he was looking for. Maybe a drop of some sort. Because, okay, never mind. It looks like he doesn't quite have a lot of vision on the map. So I think he kind of felt like it might have been possible that Kira was going for the drop into the main base instead of attacking the third. But he does scout that there's no drop here into the right side, and he's gonna go in and move across the map. Oh man, if he can pick up these two medevacs,
yeah, that would be almost a game-winning move. If he can pick these up and snowball into Kira's base. But yeah, he misses them completely, and now his army is super out of position. This drop is going to head into the main base, where it will join up with the Raven that once again finds 5 more probes. Nightmare trying to make something happen here, but is now forced to recall. So this little drop hasn't found any direct damage, but the indirect damage of having to force that recall and not having to deal with the attack in the front. Yeah, just you're getting into a more and more favorable position in this game.
Yeah, for sure. And man, it's like about 8 minutes, and that third nexus is yet to be saturated. Never a good sign, as Kira is still trying to find some openings here where he can kind of do damage with these marines, and this natural base actually not really defended, so he can potentially snipe out some probes.
Oh yeah. Recall is on cooldown now, so these two medevacs into the natural base are going to find more damage. Oh, somewhere on the map, it's a storm drop. 24 SCVs die to the storm drop, and this might just be the path for Nightmare to come back into this game. The harassment on the other side of the map also cleaned up, and all of a sudden, Nightmare been behind all game long, been behind in eco all game long, suddenly in a worker advantage, has the tech, has double disruptors coming out, kind of turning it around.
Yeah, that is absolutely critical, because Nightmare was kind of a little bit falling behind throughout this whole game. It seems like Kira had his foot on the pedal, on the driver's seat, but now all of a sudden Nightmare is looking to possibly take the first game in the upset. However, Kira's army is still huge, and there is a +1 advantage as well, so he still needs to contend with this. Nice.
Only one more storm available. Nightmare a bit overzealous here. The disruptor is not really participating in this fight, and if he had just stayed in a defensive position and whittling away at the army with the multiple storms that he had building up and coming in, I think he would have been in a great spot. But he just jumped on that engagement. Romanticide should be, if we're counting on what the first game already delivered, Romanticide probably set up for another banger. And in the top left corner, taken the first map, kind of scrappily, but taken it. For DPG, it is Cure.
And here, spawning at the bottom right, we got our blue Protoss representing the team of Team NV. No, he's not a monster. He's just your worst nightmare.
Man, I really feel for Nightmare here because I thought if he played this out a little bit differently, he just has the game in the bag. He dealt massive damage to Cure's economy, but obviously economy damage is something that doesn't affect the state of the army immediately, right? Economy damage is something that that you're gonna feel in like 2 to 3 minutes times, where when one of the players is heavily behind. But Nightmare just thought he dealt the crippling damage already and can just jump on the army when the army was still like the same size more or less, and yeah, just a bit of a misjudgment on that engagement there.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, it's kind of detrimental because when you're the underdog in the matchup and you have that game within your grasp, and then you just like let it go, it's so kind of depressing a little bit. Because you know you're not going to have a lot of opportunities potentially to be in that position again, you know.
Yeah, it's a bit like if we're sticking to the Mighty Ducks analogy, it's a bit like you're on the way to the goal. The goalie is I don't know, defeated on the side of the ice, and on the last second you trip and miss the puck, and yeah, that's what kind of happened to Nightmare here.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if Nightmare can bounce back here on the Romanticide. And ooh, what is this? 2 Reapers opening. You don't quite normally see this. Maybe I've seen this maybe from like special, but other than special, I don't really see Terrans opening up with multiple Reapers, especially if they're not proxied across the map. So this is actually quite interesting. I'm very interested to see what this is, how much damage these Reapers can do.
So there's a shield battery in the main of Nightmare, and Cure immediately decides, okay, there's no way I can deal damage here. But in this natural, nothing quite here. It's gonna get significant number of probes, 3 probes, traded out for 1 Reaper. Yeah, not bad, not a bad start.
Yeah, and also did get a lot of scouting information, right? Was able to see the tech buildings of Nightmare, so knows that it's not like some Stargate opening or any sorts. And we'll go ahead and play from there. In the meantime, Nightmare though, he is going for a 3 gateway addition to his initial gateway. So it looks like he's going for a wait. Where's the 4th one? Okay, there we go. So he's going for a 4-gate blink opening against against Cure. So I mean, this is a map that's actually pretty good for blink play because of the main base surface area. So plenty of areas in which Nightmare can kind of blink up to. However, he is kind of moving across the map with nothing to defend here against this Reaper. Can't quite get this around.
Reaper is getting 5 probes in total here in this game, and we have to note that with this opening of Cure, he went 3 barracks. His stim is already finished, so just as the blink aggression from Nightmare is supposed to come in, he's already going to be facing a ton of bio units that have their stim finished.
Yeah, and he knows there's no dirt here, so has 2 bunker at the front and a bunch of infantry at the main base for any blink play. And yeah, Kira is looking to be in a great position to defend against this.
Nightmare dives on into the main base, takes on the first bunker, but now the mass repair is coming in. No real losses taken by Nightmare just yet, so he's kind of gotten this pick off on the bunker for free. And yeah, he's still committed here though. He's warping in sentries now, but Cure with the stim advantage just stims onto the army, takes out the warp prism. The stalkers in full retreat here. Oh, he doesn't even try anymore. All the stalkers are going down. Nightmare once again. He. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with Nightmare that he had to do a little bit more there. He was kind of committed. He stopped pro production for a long time. He never took a third Nexus behind this, so I definitely get that he felt like he needed to deal more damage there. But he just had to recognize that he was up against this 3 barracks opening with a very early stim. There really wasn't any potential to deal more damage or to even close out the game there, and that's why he should have just recognized the position that he was in and maybe retreated, played the game defensively, even though you're on the back foot with yeah, your probe count and your third Nexus being laid. At least you're prolonging the game and giving yourself the chance for a comeback, but this way you just get your entire army stomped, and that puts Cure into the lead, 2-0.
Yep. And speaking of Cure, he is that red Terran player that is up 2-0, looking to win this 3-0. Can he do it? Looking very much possible. It is Cure.
And in the bottom left corner, not looking completely hopeless, but 2 big blunders costing him the last 2 games. For Team NV, it is Nightmare.
You know, I gotta say, I feel like a lot of the players from Team NV has been performing well. I mean, excluding Maru because he's always plays well. He's one of the greatest of all time, of course, if not the greatest. But you look at people like Bunny and Creator. I mean, especially Bunny, who has been making waves in the recent GSL and as well as DreamHack. And then Creator as well has been putting up some nice results. However, I feel like the one guy that has not really kind of improved significantly or decently has been Nightmare. It seems like he's still kind of stuck at that same tier.
I think it's a bit of a throwback to the old Casper team structures with Team NV here. Obviously, all the Team NV players are playing a heck of a lot between themselves, and there's always this one guy that's really good, but it's kind of used as the guinea pig for a bit more experimental builds, and it's going to be the guy like, hey, let's play, I want to try this against you. And if you're, I guess, like stuck in this position, you're not really refining the bread and butter stuff and the very basics. So that is, I think Nightmare. So obviously I don't know the insides, but this is what it looks like from the outside. Is the player where everyone else is on the team is benefiting from him rather than him benefiting from the practice.
Yeah, that's a great point. Didn't really even think of it that way, but yeah, that's a great point.
Over here now we see Cure with another bit of a different build. He opened up Concussive Shell first, and now we see a little bit of a move out here. But with this shield battery finishing up, probably the potential to deal damage is not that high here. But Nightmare doesn't quite know what's happening to him. Builds that Immortal to be super safe, and probably wants to transition this into aggression. And if he can pick up this army at the front here, 2 Marauders already going down. That's a good pickup for Nightmare.
Yeah, especially since Nightmare's actually going for a kind of like a almost old schoolish 6-gate opening, making a couple of sentries to rack up those energy for force fields and guardian shield, and then getting that immortal. The only thing is that he's not going for a second or third immortal and a war prism, so it doesn't look like he is going for a straight up timing attack. In fact, he's throwing down the robotics bay. And looks like he's going to put on a little bit of pressure. Oh, sorry, actually he did make a war prism. But he's going to look to make a little bit of pressure just to kind of force Kier to overreact. But then he's not really going for a all in. He's still transitioning into maybe Colossus or Disruptors after this.
Yeah, so he isn't planning on taking the third base anytime soon, but this is already with not as committed of an attack, already some good damage. 8 SCVs, and from here he's just picking up into the War Prism and back at home. Goes for the Colossus tag. Goes for, I think he also built the Forge, so he's probably setting up for a +1 to Colossus with ranged attack. Oh, this War Prism, it's going down the inhibitor zones with 2 sentries and an Immortal in there, and the entire advantage that Nightmare got himself went down with that War Prism again, and now Cure can turn it around. Stim finished, Medivacs out. That could have gone so much better for Nightmare.
Yeah, man, that is heartbreaking. I mean, after doing, decent amount of damage with that push, he could have just followed up with a Colossus push and kind of outright win the game. But now, all of a sudden, losing that War Prism, all those units inside as well.
The Robo's gonna get sniped. No more Colossus, only 1 Colossus on the field. And Nightmare is thrown completely off of his game plan here. Loses probes now as well. 10 probes already down. And the Stalkers don't have Blink just yet, so these Medivacs will live to fight another day. Gonna find more damage into this natural base of Nightmare. And oh man, from bad to worse for Nightmare.
Yeah, literally a nightmare for Nightmare. Yeah, I mean, I think here just pretty much going to be playing with his food right now. I mean, he's just kind of dropping everywhere, kind of pulling Nightmare left and right, and really he can't really catch up. I mean, he does defend the main base, but this dirt base here, I'm gonna go ahead and try to force an overcharge. But there's only 1 Stalker. Oh, actually, he does pick up the Medivac. That's a nice pickup there. Does make this hold a lot more easier, but look at the main base.
In the main base, more and more probes going down, and this is only a matter of time until Nightmare presses the F10 button, finds the N on his keyboard, and he is tapped out of the game. Another convincing 3-0 for Cure.